Hi there, Scott Hamilton, ROCKFILE, back with another podcast review for your ears. Going to be talking about the new 4K edition of Edge of Tomorrow, or Live, Die, Repeat, depending on the cover you got. First up, before the non-Tom Cruise fans tune out because they just don't like Tom Cruise. If you don't like Tom Cruise, this should be your favorite movie. You get to play. He plays a coward, slimy dude who the military will take no slack from. They throw him into the meat grinder, and he gets killed repeatedly in horrible ways. So you should absolutely love that. I won't get into heavy spoilers here, but the movie's been out for 8 years. You should have seen it by now. The short version is the 4K is definitely worth picking up. I'll get into specifics about it, but it looks better than the Blu-ray, and for the most part sounds better. We'll talk about this bass issue that some reviewers are talking about that you will probably never notice. The long version is, I remember when this movie came out, I saw it in the theater, I really liked it. Picked it up on home video, really liked it on multiple views. It's become one of my favorite science fiction movies because it's no compromising. There were a lot of people who dismissed it as a Groundhog Day type movie, but it was based on a novel, which I never read. And it does have that mechanic as part of its, storyline. But it's a bit more than that. So if somehow you have never seen the movie, the storyline is a mouthpiece for the military who's trying to sell the war gets told he's going to the front lines. When he tries to get out of that, they throw him on the front lines as a private. He was an officer before. He gets killed on the front lines and drenched in alien blood, the special alien that somehow is connected to the main brain of the alien race, and gives them the ability to control time, basically reset the day. Knowing what they know. They are the only ones who know that they know. And so then the movie begins to use the Groundhog Day mechanic as he learns how to explain this to people each time he dies. He has to come back and kind of catch up to where he was as quick as possible because he's only got a day. And so the movie keeps up this frenetic pace. It starts with an opening montage that lets you know how the invasion kind of happened. And then it jumps right into it, and the movie never stops to the end. It runs 2 hours. It's a great action sci-fi film. From beginning to end, it just does not stop. No whiny bits, no, okay, there's a little bit of downtime where they have a conversation about 2/3 of the way through the movie, but that really, it's punctuated by one of the most amazing scenes in the film, a helicopter going crazy inside of a barn. There's some incredible set pieces here. The special effects all hold up. They were done by Sony Imageworks back in the day. 8 years later, they hold up really well in 4K. Sometimes when you take a semi-recent movie that wasn't in 4K originally, and now you could see like Jurassic Park. Great special effects, but now on 4K, it looks more like there's a separation of image between, what's really there and what they put in the camera. This doesn't have that. It very much looks seamless. It's a good 4K. It's not stunning. It is pretty crispy, but it's also very gritty looking. The HDR does help quite a bit. The alien colors, the fireballs, some aliens are this kind of orangey fire running through their veins, and then the special ones have this blue like lightning running through their veins. That's all quite spectacular on a 4K display. Now the surround sound, let's talk a little bit about that. It's a Dolby Atmos mix, and it's great. There's a lot of directionality, a lot of the height channels used. There's a lot of flying in this movie, things flying over your head, in the sky. It's a fairly active mix. Some of my more high-end reviewers are complaining that this is the second release from Warner Brothers where they have tapered off the low end at about 30 hertz. So the original Blu-ray and 3D Blu-ray had a DTS master mix that went down below 10 hertz. And if you have a really nice subwoofer system, it's really going to test their metal. It's to reproduce below human hearing is difficult. I got to tell you, on my modest system I currently have, which is a clip ships system with a clip subwoofer, just one, I couldn't tell it rolled off anything. There's a scene at the opening of the movie in the montage where the bass just drops, and then it drops, and then it drops, and then that's what most people are pointing to, that this movie doesn't drop as low as the original mix. But again, on my modest system, it's a smooth drop. It goes way down there. It vibrated the fillings in my teeth, so I cannot complain about the bass response. But if you have a 2 or more subwoofer system and they're highly tuned, you might miss a little of the bass that was in the DTS mix, but only you would know. So, that being said, this is the best presentation of the movie, a movie I've watched repeatedly, and a movie I liked even more this latest time. I tend to get a little tired. A lot of people talk about the third act being kind of messy because it is balls to the wall action where they try and complete this mission before the day is over and before the aliens catch on to what they're doing. And it really is so heavily edited and so fast-paced. It's the first time you watch it, it's pummeling. But now that I've seen the movie a few times and that we have sunlight until almost midnight here, I'm more wide awake when I'm watching movies at night. And so halfway through the movie, I'm still quite wide awake and was able to ride what is usually a bit of a fatigue that kind of sets in, because it is a 2-hour nonstop from beginning to end action movie. Really appreciated that this time around, how it just propels forward and just does not stop. And then it has this great quirky ending. I think with the new 4K release, it's finally coming to 4K in the Best Buy Steelbook, which is already sold out less than a week after its release. There's renewed interest in a sequel, and I've heard buzz on the internet about a sequel. It's wide open for one. Why wouldn't there be? If they could take the same level of creativity in doing the Groundhog Day part of it, that's not the entire movie. It becomes more of just little callbacks to that, to let you know that they're still in one of these loops, but he might die at a random time as they still try and figure out how to get further in this timeline to stop the aliens. I totally think they could make another movie and do it right and have fun with it. With Tom Cruise involved at his age and Emily Blunt at her level of stardom at this point, it would have to be incredible for them to even step in front of the cameras to do a sequel to this movie. So we'll see what happens. If they come up with a good script, I'd definitely see it. This has become one of the better sci-fi movies of the late 2010s, I guess we're in. Came out in 2014. Every time I watch it, I get a little bit more out of it. Whether you like Tom Cruise or not, it's a Emily Blunt's great in it. There's some great actors in this. I wish I had the list up in front of me, but I'm kind of winging this on a Sunday morning. Bill Paxton is in this. It was one of his final roles. He's great. Brendan Gleeson as the overall commander on the British side of things is great. Really liked all of the character actors in this movie. But it's definitely the Tom Cruise, Emily Blunt show, and they both do well. Tom Cruise gets a character development from smarmy asshole to, world savior by the end, and he becomes his cute, normal, everybody likes himself. Emily Blunt's just a badass through most of the thing, but she has some vulnerability stuff that comes up about 2/3 through the movie, and all in all, it's very entertaining, and I'm glad it's in the collection, especially in this 4K edition. So if you've resisted, go forth and get it. I'm Scott Hamilton. I'm ROCKFILE. Thanks for checking out this podcast, one of over 400 now. Who would have thunk it? My links are below, and there is much more to come. Thanks for listening.